Hi and welcome back. In the previous episode, we created a validator class like this over here. And that validator class had a static function, which means it doesn't take anything from the outside. It just works on its own standalone. It had two static functions, in fact. One of them was string, where we validate if the string is greater than 1 and less than infinity by default. But while implementing it, we made sure that the string is greater than 1 and less than 255. Then we also had a email validation function wherein we just call the filter var PHP function and filter validate email within the validator class. How we implemented it was in node_create.php, wherein we just imported it, we just required it, and instead of requiring assigning it to a variable, meaning instantiating it, we just called it like this: validator : string, and then if the post body is greater than 1 and less than 2, then it should the opposite of that. So if the post body is not greater than 1, which means if it's less than 1 and if it's greater than 255, then so less than the minimum and more than the maximum, then the there should be a body element in the associative array called errors. The body element should be between 1 and 255 characters long. If not, then we just post it to our DB, and once we have posted it to our DB, we make the post body empty. Okay, so this is what we learned in the previous episode. In today's episode, we're looking at resourceful naming conventions. Let's see.
All right, welcome back, everybody. So you know what? Let's take a short pause on our notes exercise and instead just take a few minutes to focus on simple cleanup and organization. And I'll show you what I mean. Right now in the controllers directory, I see 3 files dedicated to notes, or our notes resource. And then if I open the views directory, the exact same thing is true. Okay, so now you can imagine for a real project where you have lots of resources like notes and posts and users and categories and tags and fill in the blank. Very quickly with this flat directory structure, I don't know, it just gets a little messy. So with that in mind, why don't we put everything related to notes within its own directory? Okay, notes, and then I'll grab these 3 and drag them in. Perfect. Then I'll do the exact same thing in the views directory. Notes, grab these 3.
We could also have an errors directory for 404, 403.
And move them over. Okay, so yeah, it just cleans it up that much. So next, of course, I need to return to my routes file and update the paths. So now I would have things like this, notes, but you'll notice now that these note controllers are stored within their own directory, maybe we could use a different naming convention. Maybe just something a little more traditional and adhering to common conventions. So for example, right here, notice that I originally named this file note create.
It can just be create.
Did that because if it was simply create, well, you wouldn't have known, is it the create controller for a note or a user or a project or a category? You don't know. So that's why we made it clear. But now that it's in a note directory, or I'm sorry, a notes directory, I don't have to do that anymore. So I can clean this up like so. Okay, so now I would just return to my controller and I would update this like so. Cool. All right, let's keep going. Is there anything else we could do here?
Yeah, single and list.
Well, again, following common conventions, the controller or action for displaying all of a resource or a paginated list of a resource is often called index.
Yeah.
So if we took that approach, we would rename this like so. Okay, so just come along for the ride.
Nice.
I'll rename this to index. All right, what else? Okay, right here, this next controller is responsible for showing a single note, right?
Correct.
So again, following conventions, we're going to change that to show, and then I will update this.
Okay.
Cool. So now we have index for showing all or a list of notes. We have show for showing a single note.
Instead of index, I prefer list, but I'm sure there's a good reason where he chose index.
We have create for displaying a form to create a new note. I think this looks a lot better. And yet, more importantly even, we're going to follow this very approach, this same naming convention for every resource in our application. And you'll find when you do that, it makes the whole project that much easier to reason about, to get around, to work on a larger team, because again, everyone is following the same convention. So for example, maybe in the future you have a resource for managing users. And maybe you need to, 6 months from now, go to the controller that is responsible for displaying a form to create a new user. All right, well, it's not like you have to go to your routes file and visit your lookup table. You just follow the convention. You know it would be something like users/create. And that is the benefit here. For every resource, we use the exact same naming convention.
Useful.
Okay, so if we do that for controllers, we're going to do the exact same thing for our views.
Okay, pause. Let's follow along. So first up, sorry about that. He created a new folder for notes in controllers, and he moved the 3 notes controllers over to here. And in effect, I have to update my routes as well. So notes, notes, and notes. Then instead of note create, this can just be create. I like it. The single note is, I'm pressing F2 here. The single note is show, and the list of notes is index. Let's update the routes. Okay, a list of notes is index, single note is show, and this is just create.php. Now that we did that, we need to do the same for views slash notes slash this, but let me create the notes folder in view. Okay, notes. Okay, and here 2, no, not this one, 1, 2, and 3. Did that. I'm also going to do it for the errors, but let me first up, yeah, let's do this one by one. This should be create .view.php. This should be show .view.php. This should be index. Again, I'm pressing F2 to rename it quickly. Keyboard shortcuts are your best friend. So let's update them in their corresponding. Let me close everything. Let me update them in the corresponding controllers. So show is notes slash show dot view dot php, right? Index is view slash notes slash index dot view dot php, which is this one. Create, of course, is notes. I'm gonna slash create dot view dot php. Yeah. Okay, let's see if everything works. It doesn't. So what's happening? The notes controller. Let's see that in the routes. Notes controller is to controllers notes index.php. Controllers notes index.php. This is views notes index.view.php. Views notes index.view.php. This one. Okay. Why is it not showing me? views nodes index.view.php, views nodes index.view. Does create work? Create is what? Route nodes/create. Create doesn't work either. Okay. What's showing stack trace? Oh yeah, I require some things there in the partials, right? So nodes create view. Cool. So in create nodes create PHP require statement. So in nodes create PHP, this one, there's a require statement on line 26. Weird. Yeah, there is, which is views nodes create .view.php, views nodes create.php. Okay, let's see why this is.
So within notes, I would change this to show.view. This one would be index.view. And then this one would be create.view. Okay, finally, I just have to update those paths. So I'll do that now, and I think we'll be in good shape here. Okay. Here's one to show. And then this one here at the bottom. View, notes, create. All right, let's do a sanity check. Is everything still working? And of course it fails, but at least we know why. So yeah, because we moved the view to a new subdirectory, the path to the corresponding partial here is no longer correct. So we need to fix that. And I'll show you how. If I go into the view for this controller.
Oh yeah, it'll be ... partials, so a level up.
Yeah, this is where we require that file and it's not working. There's two ways we could fix this. One option would be to use a relative path from the current file. So we could do something like this, __dir, and that will give me the directory of the current file. So in this case, views/notes. And then from that point, we could concatenate and go up a level into the views folder, then into the partials folder, and then to the file. And that should work. So notice if I give it a refresh, we'll still see a warning, but it will be for a different file. Yeah, now it's trying to require nav.php. And that would be fine. Another option is to use a full path from the system root. So I could say, well, go into the views directory and then into the partials directory. And I think that would work as well. Yeah, and we get the same thing. Okay. All right, why don't we stick with that since it's...
That's simpler. Let's go with that. So I knew it was somewhere in partials, but I could not decipher this correctly. Sorry about that. I'm learning here with you. Okay, so we need to do that with every single thing here, every single view here. So this should be views slash, copy that, paste it, copy that, paste it. In create view, then index view, and in show view. Okay, now everything should work. Yeah, it does. Wow. Yeah, validation works too. Yes, the clearing of the note works as well. I should have like a thing over there which says successful.
It's a little quicker. So I will update this and then down here at the bottom as well. And that should solve the problem, and it does. Okay, so now I just need to update this in these files. And by the way, notice how this is a little painful as well because we have some duplication for setting up our template. Yeah. Trust me, there are tools and libraries available that you will eventually learn about that make your templating system that much more enjoyable. Anyways, let's
Thank
update
you.
this. And then is that it? We got this one. What about
Excuse me. Did I forget to add a footer? Yeah, I did. I'm that kind of a guy. Sorry. And create. There. There we go. Does not make an iota of a difference right now because it renders nothing, but it helps.
show down here, and I think that should do it. So refresh, let's view a note. That works. Let's create a note. Yeah, and it seems like we're up and running here. Okay, so nice little refactor that I think you should consider, especially once you graduate to a dedicated framework where this convention here is incredibly common. Okay, cool. Onward to the next episode.
Cool. Okay, let's do the same thing for errors. I'm going to close all of this. Errors will be slightly different, I think. So here, it will still require views.partials. It will still require this and this as well. Okay, now errors will be slightly different because we are dynamically calling them from the abort function. Okay, new folder, and I'm gonna take these two, put them here. What was our life cycle for errors? We didn't include them in the routes, but I think it was functions. No, it was router, I guess. Yeah, router. So views slash errors slash response code.php. Okay, let's try that. Let's try something that doesn't work. Sorry, not found. Go back home. Let's try something that we're not allowed to. So that was ID number 4. Yeah, you're not authorized to view this node. Show your notes. Sorry. Excuse me. God, am I done? I think we are. I think we are done. I think we're done. This is so easy. Touch wood. So let me give you a recap of what we did today. We basically just moved the controllers and views into their own directory for better organization. So there's notes controller, and then in views we created a notes directory with dedicated notes views. We also created an errors directory. To make that happen, we updated the routes associative array here, and from the routes we updated the controllers over here, and in the controllers we updated the views here, and in the views we also updated the partials over here. No, this is not the right one, but this one. Yeah, the partials over here and the footer as well. Thank you for watching. Hope you found this useful. I'll see you next. Bye.